Hey, it's Em here with another super random episode. Right here, enjoying a random warm winter day, which seems to happen. Like some days, it's like a long stretch of time where it's cold, and then just randomly, like, oh, 60 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever. It's like and so I just love these little like hidden warm moments, I guess, or warm days. So anyway, I figured why not come out here, record a video. I wanted to share this recent experience that I had. And yeah, so a few weeks ago, I was in upstate New York in a region where the Adirondacks are. It's a range of mountains that are just in upstate New York. And I was told by my best friend that we were going to be going on a mild hike. And for me, like I outdoors a lot, as you can see from any of my previous videos, I spend a lot of time outside. So like for me, I was like, okay, that'll be so much fun. The Adirondacks are absolutely beautiful. That whole region is beautiful, like random spots of lakes, gorgeous like mountain ranges and everything like that. It's very beautiful. Even just to drive through is beautiful. So I was very excited about this little excursion. So anyway, so we go. And first of all, when we arrive there, I put the quotation marks at the wrong time. When we arrive there, maybe quotation marks aren't appropriate. Either way, there was no parking lot, which for me, I'm used to a park. Like there's a designated place where it says, this is the park, here's the parking spot, here you go. But no, actually, you park on the side right off of like a highway where people are flying down going 55 miles an hour. You just park off to the side of the road there, and that's where you park. And then I couldn't figure out where the trail started. And so my best friend, he points to that area, and he's like, this random area where there's like trees, and like I happen to see like a little sign kind of hidden under some tree branches, and it was like, oh, this is the trail. So anyway, like, all right, this is unusual, but let's go for it. So we begin walking, and it's an absolutely beautiful, it's a beautiful trail. We just for the first, I want to say, like couple miles or for several miles for this. By the way, I think the trail was like supposed to be like 3.8 miles or so. Anyway, so we're on this trail, and it's a little after fall peak, so it's not completely like bare like it kind of is now here. It was pretty much like lots of green, very mossy, a lovely walk. So anyway, as we're going along, it is unusually cold. It feels very cold because of course we're going up higher into the mountains. We're also on the side where the sun is not coming from. So it is a little cold, which is fine. We were dressed kind of warm. But as we get further along, we're starting to see snow. We're starting to see ice. And for these trails, there's some parts where you have to like hop across the rocks and all of that. So like as we're starting to get to more icy areas, like I'm getting very concerned. I'm very clumsy. Like I just can't be just hopping across any rocks or across like very thin boards that go across water. Like the boards would be like this wide across. I think that would be it. And you just have to walk across it to get across the stream. And it's with the ice, it does pose a bit of just a slightly dangerous situation. But I was like, okay, we'll be okay. Like, gotta be careful, and that's fine. And then we reached this area where I was pretty sure at this point that we lost the trail because I saw no path, like no typical path. And like here, we were going up like some slight hills before that, but it was okay. But then my husband points up, and right in front of me is just is just like rocks that appear to go almost just straight up, and you're literally just I couldn't even visualize how to get up there, and the rocks are covered in ice and snow. And when I looked at this, I was at that point like, no freaking way, I'm not doing this. My body isn't made for this. We are not equipped. We would need like special, like professional help. Like we would literally need like ropes and spikes and harness and professionals to help us accomplish this. And I just remember looking there, I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this. And at this point, there are actually two other people who are with us, my sister being one of them, and like they were further ahead. I don't even know where they were at this point and couldn't get reception to find out. I didn't know where they were, but I knew they were somewhere, and or somewhere like further on the path. I just didn't know how they did it. And then we see this woman coming down, and she kind of has to like scooch and like sit and slowly lower herself very, very slowly to get down each rock. And she like was, we're like, talk to her, like, oh my gosh, like how much further and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, oh, it's still a little bit. She's like, oh, I can't remember what she said. She said like a couple miles or something like that. And my brain was just like, no. But the thing was, she's like, yeah, the other people are better equipped. Like they have like all the other stuff. She's like, I should have brought it this time, but I just didn't think to do it. But seeing her, I'm not gonna lie, seeing her did something in my brain to let me know it was humanly possible to get up there and survive enough to make it back down at that point. So I'm like, I'm gonna try to go as far as I'm comfortable with, which ended up being only a couple rocks up. Like I climbed like a little bit. And then I just was like, I can't do this because I'm looking down. I don't know how I'm going to get back. I have zero idea how I'm going to get back down. And I kid you not, there were some parts where literally my husband like would physically pulled me because I was freaking out so much, and I was crying, and I was saying I could not do this. I cried at multiple points during this process, and every time I thought we were reaching like a slightly normal flat-ish area, then we would encounter another area just like that where it was just like ice, and you can't even see the rest of the path because it was so high up, and it's so steep. It was a really crazy experience, and I really felt I could not do this, but every time he was like kind of like calming me down, talking me through, explaining that it could be done. He's hiked it many times, and he said that this can definitely be done safely. And so yeah, and it's so funny though, because like I just remember at first like I didn't really want to get my hands too dirty and all this kind of stuff. And it's crazy because like I'm not like, I've camped out before, like I'm not like afraid of like touching things in nature or anything like that. I don't know, just something about it. I just, I was trying to be careful and all this, like, no, when you feel like the alternative to holding onto something or onto a tree is like, slipping and cracking your head, like you become very close. You become very, very close to the trees. And I just, so eventually like we got to this one area where I remember seeing like this gigantic rock. This rock was so huge. And I remember like at that point, I remember just looking up at the rock that just went up, and I looked at this area that we were at. The path just went like basically straight up. And I remember just thinking at this point, like, I really, truly can't go any further. I'm fine that I have not seen the top. I'll be okay. Even though I really had wanted to see this view, because I could tell just like peeking through the trees that it was going to be beautiful. On a side note, I'm planning on putting together some of the footage from this experience, but unfortunately during the times I was panicking, like I did not think, oh, I'm panicking, let me pick up a camera. Like, no, it was like, I'm panicking, I need to survive. I don't know if I can survive. So I really kind of I was in that kind of mode, so it didn't really occur to me to record anything, just live. So at that point, like I just knew I wasn't going to go any further. But I looked at my phone and I saw I had reception. So I called my sister who was somewhere, and I asked her like, oh, did you make it to the top? She's like, yes. She's like, but honestly, if you are not almost up here, she's like, I would honestly turn around. She's like, I don't even know how I'm going to get down. She's like, what I had to do to get up here, I just don't even know. And I was like, at that point, my heart's like pounding. I'm like, oh my gosh. There was some comfort in knowing that like I wasn't the only one, because my husband's way too calm. Like he's way too calm about stuff sometimes. And it makes me feel like I'm going crazy because like I'm full on panicking. He's just like, like just like everything's gonna be okay. Like, no, it's not. We have to somehow get down from this extremely dangerous thing. So anyway, so when she says that, she was like, "Where are you? So what can you see?" I was like, "I see this giant rock," and she was like, "Oh," he's like, "You're near the end." She's like, "Ah, you might as well come up." And I was like, "Oh crap." So when she said that, I like hung up and I was just standing there like, I really don't think I want to go any further. I don't see a way up. I don't know how this is going to happen. And even though my bestie was trying to show me how, I was just like, I can't do this. Um, and so then there was this couple that was like walking down. They were like walking down the mountain. I just saw them appear out of nowhere, and they were just comfortably going down this extremely icy rock. And I remember there was like there was some back and forth. I think they were talking to my husband and all that kind of stuff, and I was just like kind of like in a panic moment. And they talked, and then they kind of continued on, and I was just telling him, like, listen, I'm not going any further. I don't care how close we are. I'm not going. I don't care about seeing the top anymore. I just don't care. I just want to get down. But the thing is, the guy who was like walking down with his with whoever was with him, he turned and he was like, "You're on the edge of greatness." He's like, why would you turn around now? And he said something to that effect. And I honestly, that statement stuck with me. And I was just like, I literally just kept hearing, like, on the edge of greatness. Like, I'm like right there. Like, I almost have accomplished this thing. So after like another, like probably like few minutes of just standing there, like panicking, I'm like, okay, all right, so I'll do this. So then I was helped up the rest of the way, like at some points literally pulled because I'm like freaking out, like because I'm gonna slip and fall and die. And oh my God. So anyway, I finally get up there, and oh my gosh, like when I get up to the top, like I think I was so overwhelmed by the experience that I just come through, and so horrified by the idea of having to get back down. I quite honestly don't feel like I properly got to appreciate the view. The thing is, it was absolutely beautiful. The picture of the experience, I'm gonna try to include it in the thumbnail so you can see what it was like. But it was beautiful up there. But I just at that point when I got up to the top, I'm like, we just need to get down. We need to somehow get down. I don't know how we're gonna get down. And like I just remember panicking, and I didn't really get a chance to enjoy it. And the crazy thing was, like, even earlier, like even before I like was right almost at the top, I just remember having a moment where I was like, you know what, like I may not get down from this mountain. Like I don't care. Like I don't want to try and get down. And like I have now become part of the mountain. I belong to the mountain. The mountain belongs to me. I'm not getting down from here at this point. Like I just don't. I can't picture doing it. I'll rather just stay up here. I'll find a way to survive living off of random mountain things and be done with it. But it's just funny because once I was actually at the top, I like literally then my only focus was like, let me get down from here. And somehow we did make it. I remember like it was a big struggle, but then like once we kind of like put together a strategy for getting down, we were able to do it. We really, I mean, obviously I'm not on the mountain anymore. So even though sometimes if like I remember the experience and I feel like I still am on there, but I'm not. And we did it. And I remember getting past the icy part and just feeling so thankful for surviving it. And then I also, I remember even just when we finally reached the end of that trail and we saw the road again, I've just never been that happy to see a road. I've never been that happy. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I literally just walked out onto the road. I was like, land, roads, cars. Like I kid you not. I was just so emotional at that time. And even thinking about it, I feel emotional again. And the thing is, like I thought about this experience and like the moral of the story here, really for me, the moral is just like, if I had known what I was getting into, if I had known how long the trail would truly be and truly feel, I would never, ever have done this, ever. It would just, I would have said, absolutely not. I'm going to stick with simple trails, simple hikes that I'm very familiar, like the normal hikes where it doesn't involve mountain climbing. And so I wouldn't have done it. And I just thought about that. And I thought about how many other things this applies to in life, and how, like, if you knew what you were about to go through to get here, would you have done it? I don't know. I don't know. For some things, I feel like I would. Other things, like, no. If somebody told me what I was going through, I wouldn't have ever ventured and made that first decision in the first place. And so, yeah. But honestly, I would not recommend that for anybody. I would not recommend that experience for anybody. I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. It was horrifying. And maybe I'd feel different if I was properly equipped. I really do, because I just saw the confidence with which people went. The ones that had, like, the proper, like, walking sticks and the spiky things under their shoes, they walked with such confidence. But I think not being prepared is, like, a big problem when it comes to hiking and being safe. That's kind of a big thing. So, yeah. And then I not combined with that, like, there wasn't, like, even proper service, like cell service. So, like, even if something had happened, like, I'm just relying on somebody to eventually see our names, because you have to, like, sign, like, they encourage you to, like, sign in onto the trail, so people just know where you are, where your body can be found somewhere on the trail. It's something like no joke, like, to that extent. And, like, seriously, it's just crazy. But I'm glad to have accomplished it. It really was, like, probably the best workout of my entire existence. Like, I've never had a workout that good. I never felt I earned my hunger that well, or earned a meal as much as I did for that experience. And quite honestly, would I consider doing that again? I'm not gonna tell my husband this, at least not yet, but I would consider it, only with proper equipment. I would consider it, maybe. But anyway, I would like to know if you have ever had a crazy hiking experience, if you've ever experienced anything, even, like, where you just were like, there's no freaking way I can do this trail anymore, or there's no way this can be done, and then just somehow pushed through it or decided to turn around. I respect it either way. I really, really do, especially after that experience. But anyway, I just wanted to share the story, and I'm going to put together some of the footage that I have. But again, like, full disclosure, it is not showing the panic moments, because, again, it's just not my instinct to panic and, like, pull out my phone. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just trying to survive. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back next week with another super random episode. So please, in the meantime, stay safe. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk with you later. Bye for now.